Hello, 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 everybody. Hello, hello. Yes. Hello, Froggy. Good job on getting first. Sorry about going live so much later and interrupting what you wanted to do. Yeah. Anyways. But for everybody new here, I am Dalah. Comfy boxhead VTuber guy. Welcome to another stream. Streaming every day this year. Some goals at the end of the month. We're doing alright. Today is a day 36. And we will be doing some art. Hell yeah. We're probably just gonna have a short stream today. Again. I don't think it's quite a burnout, but this has been a very busy and very hectic week or two for me. So we've been don't you worry too much. You don't have to get in here every time. We appreciate you when you are here, Froggy. But yes. Sorry. I'm going to jump right over to our drawing screen. I'm going to pull up I do, though I don't have my streak anymore. For some reason I read that as steak. That's okay, Froggy. We'll work on it. No worries. Don't worry too much. Here. Let me pull up what we're going to work on today. Actually, I have a couple ideas of what I want to work on. Alright. Let me get over there. I want to work on a couple things here, because I want to... Where is it? There it is. I actually wanted to do a little bit of... Oh, so you did have steak. I actually wanted to do a little bit of work on this one and give it like some highlights in the hair, because I feel like that was a bit of a missed opportunity that I didn't do, or that recently hasn't even been posted yet. So here, you know what? We're just going to do it a little bit more loosely. So yes, we are... Sorry, just a second here. There we go. We are just doing stuff like this. Trying to save money for PC and violin, but together both cost so much. Yeah, I looked into the costs of both of those, and I can confirm they are both very expensive. There was a time when I was a music box. Or at least tried to be. Still sing sometimes, you know? La 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 la. Right? So good. I'm so good at that. I'm the best singer ever. And anybody who disagrees, you're wrong. Not mentioning the bow grease and tuner. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. The like maintenance and stuff like that. It's a lot. It's not a small amount. A little bit more there. Just trying to give a little bit of texture to this hair, but I am very bad at textures, so something to work on. It's not bad. Not exactly what I wanted, but then I actually want to do this. Yeah. I don't think that's too much better, but I like it more. Nope, flute and guitar aren't enough, though. Fair enough. I know somebody very closely with who's in like college for music, and yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. All right, so as for what else we want to do, I'm sure everybody remembers these guys. But we have a few more of these guys. Notably, we have the next one we're working on. Pull them up. Start a new layer. There we go. This is Azalea, one of the NPCs. Now, she is a very interesting character. Good close up on this face. Get a good memorization of the details of what she kind of looks like. She hasn't received new art in a solid minute, so we're giving her some. Oh, that's interesting. This is something I never noticed about her design. Yeah, fair, Froggy. I get you. I have a friend who is relying entirely on scholarships to get through college, just about at the very least. We're going to give her some legs here. You know what am I doing? I need to decide on a pose. What's a good pose? I think honestly, I think this wide-legged pose is pretty good. Here. Get our dimensions a little bit. Boo. Boo. Go. We're actually going to have her looking down at the clothes she's wearing. A little bit nervous. She's kind of like a major pothead who can see the future. Oh yeah, sounds good. By the way, everybody, go make sure you're following the Froggy. Future, present, past, if you're somehow doing that. I don't know how you're doing that. That's actually really impressive. Maybe you should stop though. I don't know. Like, does that have consequences? I don't want to be dealing with the consequences of you messing with time to watch my stream. You know, just be patient. Just wait. It's coming. I promise. Go. Like that. We're actually going to make this a little bit more of a nervous pose. Because she's had a rough time since this point when she seems pretty confident. She has seen many things that were not good. Yeah, this is an alright pose, I guess. But yeah, I'm just doing this drawing for a... in case you didn't know, these are all D&D characters. This is a NPC in a D&D character. D&D game that I'm in. For reference, my guy is... Nope. This one. So, because, like I kind of said, she can kind of see the future. She's going to be treated here as like a prophet and like a figure of almost worship. So she's going to be wearing pretty you know, ornate clothing. More so even than a king. Like, nope, this guy. So my reference ideas are here. Let me see if I can pull them out. This is one reference that I had. This is another. And then I was going to have her hair with like gemstones in it. Kind of have her sort of 1 foot on the ground, one sort of tilted back a little bit here. Actually, I know how I would get that effect. I would shorten the leg here, and then maybe even just do something like that. Yeah, like that. It's definitely a kind of shyness that I'm going for here. Back for a little. My internet is non-existent, so I gotta restart. Fair enough. That was us the other day. Today we're doing a little bit better. We tried the what are the words? Words are not here. Reconfiguration? Is that the word? Is that a word? I think it is. It shows you where my brain's at. But yeah, one of the friendos, the Magna, helped me out a little bit and gave me a possible solution where we're not fully sure that it's much better, but it's been better for now. You know what? Let's give kind of a bloomers vibe more. That's a type of underwear, right? I know it's kind of what Ryu wears from Danmachi, which is one of my favorite animes, and she's the best girl in it. Ryu Lion, Gale Wind. Yeah. Oh shit, there's a Hollow Knight update? What? What the fuck? What kind of Hollow Knight update? I'm curious now. You're gonna have to let me know what's going on over there. 'Cause that could very well be why I was having internet issues. I was trying to play a game that's trying to update. Yeah, that would make sense. Or that at the very least needs an update. I think her knee is a little bit too forward. I think we need to do something like this. And maybe even a little bit like this. Alright, I will now be going unless internet doesn't work again. I'm wishing you the best of luck, Froggy. We're probably just going to go for a few hours here, and then if you're still alive, we might raid you, or we might raid another friendo. We'll see. We'll see who we raid. Who knows, we could raid nobody and just exist. Possible. You never know. Here, let me see if I can't angle myself a little bit better here so that I'm more looking at you guys too. Yeah, this is definitely a little bit too leaned over. And she will have legged a little bit. And I think we might actually have our knee this. I'm also going to make her eyes glow a little bit. Her kind of reddish eyes. Go and look a little more tired. A little anxious. This is kind of the idea here. I'm kind of just repeating myself, but there's not much to really say about her. My character sees her as... I might as well go into a little bit of depth of how my character works. So basically, he comes from a land that didn't know... I should preface the universe a little bit. The universe exists in a tower. There are many floors to this tower. Each floor of the tower is roughly about the size of the Americas. And it's full of, you know, various life, and, you know, magic and other stuff like that. And there are people who climb this tower. And they're called, you know, regulars. For reference, this is the universe of Tower of God, basically. It's very similar. And there are 3 separate parts to each floor. There's the inner tower, where it's kind of a mysterious place. It's kind of where, you know, you get tested before you can progress as a regular to the next floor. There's the military tower, where, you know, most of the action happens. And then there is the outer tower, which is kind of the outskirts of the floor. And sometimes, because the land is so big and it's so, you know, mysterious, some people in the outer tower don't even know they live in a tower. Some entire civilizations. Like... oh, this guy's. In his civilization, he is, or he at least once was, a conqueror of almost the entire known world. He was a exceptional king, and she's wearing clothes, trust me. Trust me, chat. Wearing clothes. It's okay. Okay. US, don't come at me. No nudity. See? See, she's wearing clothes. What are you talking about? And basically, they lived for many, many years, not knowing that this tower existed, until suddenly an empire, which currently controls 99% of the tower, appeared. And the thing about people who climb the tower, and this empire is basically just full of those people, is once they've reached the top, on average they've reached usually like a almost godly level of power, towards compared to like normal people. And basically, this land, nobody had done that. So they were conquered fairly easily, and quite brutally. However, eventually this empire, they thought, alright, these people keep not listening to us, maybe because we killed millions of them, and we don't understand their culture. So instead, we'll just leave their old government in charge, but their old government reports to us now. And they pay taxes every year, and they basically do anything we tell them to. And they lived that way for a few years. But after a few separate instances, my guy basically was like, alright, I don't want to live here anymore. Or I want to live here, but I don't want them to be in control. So I'm going to climb this tower. And basically get strong enough that I can fight them off myself and, you know, keep myself safe. Me and my land and my people, right? Of course the neighbors' children are letting out just screams from their souls. That's not bad, right? That's a pretty good pose. I like that. And so he is now climbing this tower as a regular, and he is basically on a quest. Now, the team he is currently climbing with, which is the other players and some of these NPCs, are actually, I want to see what does her hair look like? We don't see her hair. No, we do not. He sees basically everything as a means to an end. Because he is a very... I like traumatizing my characters, so he is very traumatized, and he is very, like, solely focused on his goal and his people from his floor, not anybody else's floor. But he kind of hides it with a jovial facade, almost. And he sees the person who can see the future as very much an asset he wants, but he also knows that, you know, kind of what he wants is wrong, so he's trying not to, and he wants her to help him organically. But if it comes to it, he will, you know, blackmail her. He's not a good character that I'm playing. He's a kind of a bastard. Actually, by definition, he is a bastard. His parents were not married. Fun fact, I'm a bastard. I'm sure I've said this before, but it's always fun to say it. Bastards unite. Yeah. Not bad, and now I'm going to sort of resize her a little bit. And we just want eyes here. Nope. Wait. Yeah, it's a little bit of a bigger nose here. She's definitely got freckles. Yeah. That is... Need a little bit bigger eyes, I think. Yeah. Then she had like, yeah, like these really sharp eyelashes here. Oop, oop. We'll need to rework this face a bit. Now is a good chance for that. Nope. I didn't notice I still had that open. Here, we're going to just do this real quick. You know what? I need a little bit more clarity in what I'm doing here. There we go. There we go. Yeah. She's always given me a little bit of skinnier vibes. Like not even like a skinny person, but like a almost unhealthily so. She always seems like she's not eating. She's low on iron, I tell ya. I was bleeding from the nose and stuff. Alright. Now then, let us do this. You know what I want to do? Oh, not that. Grab your skin tone right here, I guess. I like this color actually. For her eyes. And we got this sort of almost creamy gray color for her hair. And otherwise, we can mostly get rid of this. Yeah, like that. Okay. Her arm could be a little bit longer, actually. Let's go and make it a little bit longer. There we go. Let's think here. What we do? We're going to open up nice dark blue. No, we're going to actually go with a green. Blue. Yeah. So we'll just do this. This. I'm sorry, pretty clear. There. Yeah. Actually gonna inch this back a little bit. So this is her baby toe. Right there. Alright. Now we'll go to green. We can start on this second layer. I promise tomorrow to start a little earlier and to, I might try and, you know what? I think I will, actually. I'm going to start up Hollow Knight before stream and get the flower thing to the grave, and then I'll start streaming. We can see what the result is. I actually have to use the washroom real quick. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I'm back. Give me a second here. All right, we're back. Oh. There we go. Fully back. Good. Weird amount of dust on my desk, and I don't know why. I see my desk just the other day. Yeah, we're just going to jump right back into this. Just see how this leg looks on its own. I see an issue. It doesn't look too hard to fix. Go. Just gonna shorten this part a little bit, but then expand the hand as a whole, I think. Get this, it's a little bit. Got a little bit of a wide index finger there. Didn't quite look right. I want it to roughly be the same size as this one. Yeah, that's right. There we go. I like that. That's a good size. Hmm. Go. There. Something looks wrong about this arm. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. Not by much, but it's a little better. I might do something like this. Thank you. Thank you, Sorrybot, for banning exotic school teacher. Okay. Some of the names these bots come up with. Oh. A little bit more like that. Go back up here. And we just finished this little toe. I'm just gonna check something real quick. Been waiting on a message all day. Shit. I won't drop that. Nope. Scheduling and conflicts. Go. There we go. Kind of a little bit softer shoulder curve here. There we go. I like that. Maybe even just, I think even just like the tiniest bit of curve downwards of this arm would actually help the vibes I'm going for. Oop. Hmm. Actually, I need to ask a question about our design to my DMs real quick. So I'm just going real quick do that. And then we can just kind of get back to it. Oop. What did my layout change? Did I change something? I don't know. Question asked. Probably not going to get an answer today, but we're just doing the, I guess, second draft. I was going to say first draft, but second draft is fine. Here, we're actually just going to the one here. Right. That might be a little bit better. Alright, and then we're actually going to make her head a little smaller then. And lower it. Not too small, but smaller. Maybe a little bit bigger. Yeah, that'll be fine. And then I need to find her jawline a little bit softer. Something like that. Actually, it's going to do this. There we go. Yeah, she'll absolutely need a bigger head in a minute here, but right now this is what we're working with. Yeah. A little bit more like this. Not bad. Definitely needs to be bigger. Or opacity again. This was about the right size head, so I'll wanna kind of match this. A little bit taller. Perfect. I think that's pretty good. I'm having a hard time with this one. Not sure why. Hmm. I think her body's too wide. Yeah, it's a little off center too. Run to slim her out a little bit. Feels more accurate. Accurate. There we go. I feel like I could start like telling stories, like my writing, a little bit when I'm drawing like this and there's nothing else going on. I think that would be fun. You know, like I usually do that anyway, a little bit, but like I could make a point of doing it. Fill the space a little bit. Oh. Yeah, there we go. So we got sort of this big nose. A little bit rounder nose. A little rounder. A little bit round. Sharper eyelashes here. Go. Bigger eyes here. There we go. And then we'll just have our hairline right around here. Something like that. Something like that. Yeah. Big old ears. And that was something I kind of didn't really remark on it, but I kind of unconsciously note of. It kind of had big ears. Not extraordinarily big, just bigger. Actually, a good way of looking at her hairline is looking at the center line of her hair. So it's actually more of a right hand part. It's more over here, actually. Oh, there we go. Root. There. Yeah. Pretty cute. This nose might be getting a little bit too big. Might do that. No bet. but I get it. There we go. Something. Good little tool for freckles. We don't need quite that much. This will be good. I got freckles a bit all over. Got freckles here. Freckles here. Forearms. Probably means upper arms too. Just covered in freckles. Freckly lady. Doesn't have them on her hands. That's interesting. She has this one at the top of her hand. She have a impossible to see, which presumably maybe a little bit. Possible this tool would have been better. Something like this. Okay, then we want this one. Go. That. Like that. Then we're gonna give her these clothes. Okay. this. We'll do this. Go. And I'm going to do this. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. You know what? We're actually going to do this. We're going to do a little bit more. Later in here. 13. And go. I'm going to look something up real quick. Actually, I'm going to do it on my phone so it doesn't stress out my computer. I just need to... This is a very religious society, so the things that they're dressing their prophet in are very, like, religious symbols. I think there is, like, a god of clairvoyance and stuff like that. This floor. Go down to the faith and light. Keep going. There we are. Okay, so there's the god of sun, heroes, and kings, the god of moon, sea, and travelers, / orphans, the god of hearth and harvest, god of swords and manly virtue, god of storms, rain, and fertility, god of warfare and earthquakes, god of stories and messengers, god of sleep and death, god of healing and magic, god of prophecy and justice. There we go. Okay. Good to know that it's that one. Let's see here. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to change this a bit. Necklace thingy. Um. Sort of reaching out like this. This. Nope. Wait. That. And this. This. You know what? Might be easier to do this. Nope, not quite what I want. Green. Like, I think so. That's a little easier. That way we don't have to worry too much about covering up these shoulders in this exact place. Yes, okay. So let's go set that. Got this. Nope. Back to red. What? Going all the way down here. There we go. What would be a good symbol for a god of justice and prophecy? That's what she would be decorated in. An eye? No, not an eye. Something to note is it would probably be shield-like. Could just be a shield. Shield with maybe a scale on it. Almost giving like Egyptian vibes, but like this is a religion of many different, you know, many facets, but also many words are lacking. Many cultures which worship them. So there's like, I think, nearly 100 cultures on this floor. I need to go say bye to somebody real quick, but I'll be right back. Don't think you're leaving without me. Hey. Sorry, brother. How are you guys? Alright, I'm back. Oh. But yeah, as I was saying, there's like, I think 100's a little bit of an overstatement, but I think I wrote up like 30 of them. My pen feels cold in my hand. I'm not sure why. I've been using it. It's warmed up. Nope, wrong guy. Why do I keep bringing him up? Go. Right now, I'd say that's pretty good for her. You want to give her some sort of shoes, but I'm not sure. Oh, those are nice, actually. Please. Sort of things, I'm not sure what I'd call them. And down into these flipper thingies. Flippers. Slip-ons. Something I do when I draw women, because I don't like them. I never draw them in heels. So, you're welcome, women. You don't have to wear those. I actually quite like flats. That's what these are called, flats. Alright. I'm going to white on top of this. Body under the clothes and get a good look at what we're actually working with. Go. That's something like that. Definitely needs more detail here. This. And something like this. I almost want to give her like this. My earbud fell out. There we go. Um, hmm. Oh, you know what? That's a cool. That's what it's missing. Um, a little bit. Connect it. That's a pretty good idea of what she looks like. Pretty partial of that. I want to check something about her design. You know what I'm going to watch? Whoa. You know what I'm going to watch after this stream? I'm going to watch Knights of the Seven Kingdoms. Seven Kingdoms. Apparently, I didn't know this. New episode 7. I don't watch it. Episode 3. For reference, if anybody's curious to the timeline of what was happening. Reference. Why not? Epstein Files came out a couple days ago, like the second or third batch or whatever, the millions of ones. Oh, hello, Sarah. I was just mumbling to myself. Weirdly, like, trying to make my place and describe where we are in time and current events. But how are you doing, Sarah? Good to see you as always. There we go. And then we move on to the next one, which would be the boy. Quick. So actually, I'm not going to draw the boy because the boy, I still don't know what his young adult self looks like. So we're actually going to draw it. So, this boy. I'm glad you're doing good for now. Hopefully good for now stays good forever. Though I guess he wants some times to, make the good ones a little bit more special, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we're drawing this boy. His name is Noel. 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 Oh, fuck! I just realized my fucking microphone's been way away from my face. Probably sound shit. Probably still sound like shit because my microphone settings are terrible. But we'll figure that out someday. Nope. Yeah. So we're going to draw him, and here, we need a little bit of reference. So we're going to draw him kind of in this outfit, I'm thinking. What am I doing? I ought to pose him first. How might he pose? I don't know. Here, we're going to look for some poses. I'll find any real good poses. Not terrible. Guess I gotta come up with one a little bit. It's going to be instead directing his full attention to a book. Instead of just partially. It's going to be somewhat sideways. Flipping through the book. We're going to have his hand on the book. Go. Oh. Wait. Yeah, I like that. That's not bad. I'll have a bit of a flared collar here. And something like this. Well, and huh. Yeah. Got a pretty good idea of what he's wearing here. You want it to be a little bit clearer. Right in here. He's wearing almost like a kimono thing. Hmm. Good. I'll be honest, he's kind of tough to draw, actually. Now that I'm looking at him. Alright. Yeah, we'll go for another draft in here. Yeah. You know what? We actually ought to really figure out like what his build is. Big feet. That was on purpose. Knees right about here. A little overly spindly in the legs. Yeah. this, those. Just going for a rough draft of his biology. We're doing what he looks on like with very little clothes on. We can draw his base. Knee right here. Closer up here. And then we're just going to expand this when we've got a basic outline of his body. You know what could be fun? I could tell you my guy's like story, because he has a written out memoir of sorts that I've written for him. I have how many chapters is it? It's like I don't know, it's 5 chapters right now. And I think it's okay. Other people seem to really like it. I have to go find it though. You know what? Why not? We're gonna go here, here. Here. There it is. Figure I can talk while I draw. Might be able to get the first chapter done. Hence. Chapter 1. The Boys Who Dreamt of War. Older boys chased through the yards, popping low fences, the outer ring of the armored city, laughed with confidence only youth could provide. As everyone was, they were protected inside the great walls that had stood for hundreds of years. These toes are bugging me. I need to finish these toes real quick. Also, some of the names you may find inspired by a certain anime. Even if quaint, they were almost freeing in a way to these boys, as they were to almost all who lived inside them, protected by the titanous hill giants, roving mounted barbarian tribes, the other continent of Natar, and the numerous warring states that the land of Argos had come to be known for in the past few decades. And yet these boys still dreamt being knights of their great nation of Frost. To this end, heroes must have venture. Get him, the snot-nosed brat called as he started to trail behind, losing steam. The lead four kept running, narrowly jumping over gates and around old women washing laundry by the well. They didn't lose track of their small target. They saw ducking under a low fence to an open pathway down the backside of some inns. One of the boys, who was clearly the fastest and strongest, a large scar across his chin, called out to his friend to ambush the preyed creature. "Over there, now!" They all rushed around the corner as they heard the crash. There was Durder, the little beast in his arms, pinned to the ground, writhing. The scarred boy stepped forward laughing. "Got him. Finally, the little shit has been hiding for weeks." "Let's see him then," chubbier boy said, to which the scarred boy clearly agreed, pushing Durder off and onto the ground, grabbing the little freak by the ear. Lifting him to his feet, "Look," he called, showing off the crying little boy he had his hand by the ear. "Look at his ears, inbred little mutant freak." As the boy tried to pull away, the chuckle from a few and surprised gasp from a few village girls were clearly heard. It was strange. The boy's ears were frankly massive for his childhood body. Here, I actually need to expand on this. And came to a clear point. His ears did, he has pointed ears. Something, otherwise everybody else looks human, right? And his eyes, the pupils, were square. The boy tried to refute. Mama said, "Look at this little bastard, he's trying to talk for once." The scarred boy laughed as he spoke, as he continues, who cares what your mother said, you freak? Nobody doesn't just get pregnant with no man. Your mother's a whore who doesn't even know who you're..." And the boy screamed as he cried, his voice tearing as he tried to throw a punch at the scarred boy. "Shut up!" Dargo, the scarred boy, looked with a surprised look, got punched in the stomach, his face contorting in pain slightly. Still, not letting go of the small boy, the crowd of children stared at them both, whispers amidst them, small chuckle coming from somewhere deep within Dargo. He had been shown in an instant to be able to be silenced and hurt. Small crack, its persona he had built. Not much, but something small snapped. "Hey, you're fucking dead, bastard." And then a loud, "Hey!" the little boy's mother shouted forward. Seeing her child being bullied, her fiery red hair flaring behind her, and monstrous expression. You brats drop my goddamn son. Before I get over there, I'll rip your blank and blank your mother's and blank and fish." This monster was more than any of them could fight, as they all ran, Dargo looking back before chasing after. And we start getting a little future character interlude, as he says, "Mother was a brave woman." The woman hugged her son as he stood there trying not to cry in her embrace, taking his hand and the bandage up. She grew up an orphan, sold to a brothel at the age of 12. She saved money there for many years. She believed dreams were possible. One day, he bought her freedom. It took many years, but she didn't stop believing. It helped that her red hair and golden eyes made her look exotic, though to the many who paid for her service. That and her brazen personality. Two walk home together. The Varus Inn, it's called. Soon after, she opened her own establishment, naming it after the ancient word meaning weary home. However, a couple of years after opening this establishment, she found herself pregnant. Asked her many times. The two walked along the cobble roads. "Mama, is it true I'm a bastard freak?" "Absolutely not, Nicolia. I told you. You are a blessing of the gods. These ears, your eyes that see so much, they're all perfect, just like you. And of course, you have your mother's hair." She ruffled his short hair and smiled in that way that always made it feel like the sun was shining for you alone. She always insisted that she never touched a man after she had to. So we're already getting a little bit into there being the idea of some sort of immaculate conception. He's definitely a little bit of a little bit inspired by certain figures in history. Would you? I'm not asking the people who are religious. Would you say Mary was a historical figure? Because I guess there's this record. I don't know. But yeah. and she had been blessed by the light of the 14 gods, and she'd never have it any other way, no matter who laughed at her delusion or called her a lying whore. She believes stronger than anyone else. I should be careful with that word, shouldn't I? But, I mean, obviously a time when the word meant a lot less, well, it meant what it meant. It was a definition of, sex work. But yeah, I mean, stop using it because I don't think Twitch likes it. Yeah. Let me continue. The boy continued to ask, "Mother, could I at least grow out my hair to cover my ears so they won't pick on me anymore?" Billy asked his mother as they walked through the stalls, crowd gathering to their side. "No, when you're older, you can make your own choices. I'll have you proud of your ears by then, and can keep cutting that hair of yours." She laughed gently as she examined fruits, not caring about the growing crowd behind her, focusing around the well. Napoleon became curious, however. What were they doing, he wondered, as he looked towards its center and saw a glistening helm and armor. "A knight!" Nicolia called out, dashing closer. "What?" his mother said quickly, before quickly following with a word expression. "Wait, oh, damn it." Nicolia pushed into the crowd. He saw the knight. You know what? I'm just going to read this because trying to do both is super slow. Yeah, we'll do that. Here, where was I? Pushed into the crowd as he saw the knight, surrounded by women and admirers. His glistening armor, 2 swords and their scabbards at his hip, that powerful, pristine body. Everything Nicolia dreamed of. His mother then grabbed his arm and brought him back to reality. "What do you think you're doing? Don't you know you can't just run off?" She tried to whisper, it sounded more like a shout. "Ah, is that Miss Kesha of the Varus Inn?" The knight was in front of them both suddenly, his helmet off, his tan, slightly wrinkled skin and blonde hair clear. As Nicolia looked up, and back and forth. "You know, Mommy? Mommy, you know a knight?" "Hey, Mother, eh? I did not know you had a child, Kesha, my dear," Knight said, chuckling. "Yes, we were very well acquainted a few years ago now, weren't we?" "Oh, please." Nicolia the boy interrupted. "Sir, do you think I could be a knight someday?" "A knight, eh?" The man looked at Kesha before continuing. "Why, sure. Anyone could be a knight if they have the right equipment and accomplishments." The man knelt to Nicolia's eye level as Kesha stared. "Can I tell you a secret, kid? The real thing you need is spirit." The spirit of a warrior, he gestured to himself, calling to the crowd. The lover, he kissed Kesha's hand, who shivered slightly. And the man pulled one of his swords, and it scabbard free, lowering it to Nicolia's hands. The sword. The spirit of the sword is the most important. Letting its weight rest in Nicolia's hand. "Keep that, boy, and when you're ready, come find old Sir Garthrow. I'll still be kicking." Nicolia thanked him and stared in wonder as the man rose to speak to his mother. At the time I was engrossed in the present I had received. The knight spoke poetry and praises upon my mother, words suited and unsuited for a knight. She didn't budge, however, when he asked if she'd join him for dinner. Respectfully bowing to him, but still firm no matter how he asked. He spoke for what felt like forever, and yet all too quick, as I paid more attention to the sword than the knight. My mother, she knew the power of a knight. Leaders of tens or even hundreds of men had free rein to do anything they wanted, were even allowed to break the law should they desire, as long as it didn't go too far and nobody reported it, which they often didn't then. And yet, she still held strong today. I respect that more than I can express. Well, thank you, Sir Garthrow. I am incredibly blessed to have one such as yourself thinking so highly of me. However, I, a mere peasant, would not dare to take much more of your time. Risha spoke, quickly retreating and grabbing Nicolia's hand before the knight could continue further, her grip so tight. So tight, and she didn't utter a single word on the way home, instead opting to enter her establishment and get to work making dinner for the customers. Mother, could I practice outside? I promise I won't break anything, Nicolia asked, carrying the sword, his eager eyes pulling on his mother's heart. Oh, very well. But if I see it outside a scabbard, 10 lashes and you won't see it for a year. Deal. Nicolia shouted as he was already halfway outside the door in the backyard with the chickens. Nicolia swung his sword incessantly for days, not leaving the inn most of the time, sneaking out the window to train more at night, swinging it around. His mother would watch with a solemn smile as the moon rose and fell. It was 3 weeks later of this behavior, Dargo found him again, practicing, followed by his group. Hey, bastard, Dargo called in his voice unsteady but rough. No mommy here to protect you now, mutt. Julia looked over, scared to see him again, this time carrying a long hard stick. Dargo is the one holding the stick, by the way, not Nicolia. Heard some knight gave you his dull training sword. Lucky little shit. Sorry, I find that funny. They thought your mother would, Stop it! Dargo flinched. Before speaking back up. So you think you can talk up to me? You can stand up to me now that you got some sword? Dargo drew a large, sharp, butchering knife from behind his back. Bet you aren't so confident now, everybody gasping in surprise. Julia looked at the sword in his hand, still in its sheath. He closed his eyes and remembered speaking quietly. It's spirit. What was that, mutt? Go and cry? Beg me not to, Dargo said, but was interrupted by Nicolia, continued, speaking louder now. Warrior and lover. He grit his teeth, as everyone else, Dargo included, seemed confused. And sword. Nicolia drew his sword in a quick motion, the sharp edge shining in the sun, before bringing it down and stabbing it into the ground at his side. Dargo, will you duel me, or are you too coward? Dargo took a step back, shocked and a bit scared. What? He looked back at the people he got to follow him before turning back to Nicolia. You have a sword. How would that be fair? Throw down your knife and use that stick. I will only use my scabbard. Nicolia called out proudly. Unless you're scared. The boys behind Dargo started shouting for him to do it. Dargo stood there shivering with anger and a bit of fear, but his friends cheering his name. Fine, I'll do it. And show this little mutant mutt. Nicolia shivered, but it wasn't fear, something pushing him forward. He raised his scabbard, and for the first time he said the words, For family and honor. Avast, thou mangy mutt bitch! Shouted at Dargo, with a huge grin on his face. Dargo and Nicolia stood off. Dargo knew he was stronger and 3 years older than Nicolia. Still, he had been in fights before, but this felt different. Something about the weapons, maybe. He pushed past it. His 20 town kids had gathered to watch. Dargo charged first, swinging his large stick broadly with a scream. Nicolia waited and raised his scabbard, allowing himself to guide the stick down its length, making it hit the ground. What? Dargo couldn't perceive a world where that just happened. Nicolia saw things differently. He thought in his head, "That hurt!" His wrist felt strained, carrying the stick away. He kept his face calm, but felt the need to switch hands, something perceived as a taunt that made as Dargo rose, screaming and swinging wildly again and again. Nicolia barely dart. I am losing it. I don't know what I'm saying. Dodging until whack! Nicolia was hit in the head. Was hit in the side of the head. His orange blood seeping slowly from the strike, which landed him on the ground. The world was spinning. Dargo saying something. Why was it so quiet and loud at the same time? Nicolia did his best to rise to his feet as the world spinned around him. Come on, stay down, much. He heard. He looked up and to the side, seeing the huge walls again, feeling a breeze on his face, and something clicked. Again, we get a voice, a narrating voice, kind of. I felt that moment twice in my life. A moment where my fate changed, where I broke part of myself, when I surpassed who I once was, and became something new. Nicolia stood there, and raised his sword, for family and honor. Could be scabbard. Dargo stared at him and smirked, but then Nicolia charged forth, swiping at his face, Dargo narrowly dodging. Nicolia's scabbard swinging with precision at Dargo, who blocked it as he retreated, finally hitting Dargo in the side of the knee, hard, putting him on the ground on one knee, circling around his fallen figure gracefully and with flourish, his face blushing blue, as his strange biology dictated, smiling in a state of ecstasy at one girl who blushed back. Nicolia felt more alive than ever with this sword in his hand. That moment. Dargo grunted in pain, but stood up, this time charging at Nicolia, who parried and struck again, hitting Dargo in the side of his torso. Dargo returned the favor, swinging hard through the pain, hitting Nicolia in the forearm. He put up a guard as something is heard snapping, despite Nicolia's face seeming to show only a calm or maybe even happy expression. Dargo struck again, hitting Nicolia's calf, again hitting his stomach before Nicolia used his sword in a small flurry of blows, whacking his hand, bicep, and in a twirling motion, disarming Dargo before bringing the scabbard to his neck and stopping just short. The stick lands a few feet away. Dargo stares in shock as Nicolia stares down at him blankly. Dargo grits his teeth, turning away and running as Nicolia, knowing his motive, runs in the opposite way. The two both hurting badly as they run, both obsessed with victory in the moment. Dargo drew his butcher's knife from the ground and turned to charge off from his knelt position, find Nicolia with a sword's blade to his throat as he turned around. I lost, Dargo admitted, with a drop of sweat. With a drop of sweat, blood hitting the ground. Was it a tear? Nicolia lowered his sword. I always wanted to be like you, Nicolia spoke honestly, strong and confident. Nicolia extended a hand down. Can we be friends? Dargo stared down for a while. Everyone watched. No. Nicolia looked sad for a moment before Dargo grabbed his hand, standing up. But we can be rivals. Nicolia's face lit up, and the people cheered. Others scoffed, but nobody could deny it felt like the start of something new. Don't think this is over, Nick. We'll fight again, and I'll win. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Julia quickly started spending more time with the group, practicing with the sword every day with the boys and girls. With the boys, as the girls would start becoming interested in other things, quickly becoming popular with Dargo alongside him. Every young person in the lower city knowing their names, and even courting the girl he saw in the duels for some time. However, Dargo was his only true equal, seemingly, two constantly dueling with each other. The heated score of Nicolia winning 362 times to Dargo's 298, both seeming to develop a high-level skill. 4 years later, Nicolia, age 14, Dargo, age 17, Arund, age 17, Hibli, age 13, and Durder, age 15, together joined the military. Within the first 3 weeks, stepped on the battlefield. Only one returned home that day. Next chapter. Magnolias among the blood-soaked stones. And that was what was that chapter? But yeah, that is the first chapter of, where is he? No. It's this guy. First chapter of this guy's life. I enjoy writing. I'd say one of my favorite hobbies. Eventually I'd like to be a profession, but that is to be seen. I think finish this outline here of his form, and then I think I might end after that. I'm a little bit tired. Got a bigger day ahead. Fun fact about Noel. There's a running gag that Noel is actually secretly like the strongest person in the party. Because the DMs have the highest rate of rolling just nat 20s exclusively with him. So everybody now believes him to just be a god in disguise. In jest, obviously, but he is going to be a little bit muscular here. I don't know why I talk in such old English. In jest I speak, of course. I just noticed that I did that. I feel like that's not the first time I've said that. Yeah. There we go. Alright. I'm feeling pretty tired. So I'm gonna throw us up on a raid out. But I would like to thank everybody for their support and all that. And all you chatters, lurkers, and friendos. I really appreciate you for poking in for however long you did. Even though this was clearly a little bit of a later stream. I wanted to do it earlier, but people were being weird about what movie we were watching and what time we were watching it. I wanted to watch Sonic the Hedgehog. And they wanted to watch Sinners. But I had initially convinced them to watch Sonic the Hedgehog. But then one of them went to sleep, so they decided, without informing me, that they were going to watch Sinners. They're assholes. I love those assholes, but they're little pains in my asses. So, and also, I said, hey, let's watch the movie around 5 or 6, right? And then 6 came around, and nobody told me anything, so I was like, okay, I guess we're not watching a movie, because we don't always watch a movie. And then around 6:30, I was like, alright, well, I guess I'm going to stream then, and they were like, you're not joining us for the movie? I was like, what the fuck? And yeah, it was just a whole thing. It was a whole thing. I like my model. I don't know, but it's a good model. I am going to eventually finish my full body one, and then we can stand up if we want to. Dance if you want to, you can leave your something behind. Cause if you don't dance, and if you don't dance, you ain't no friends of mine. Right. There's one thing, it like get a little weird like this. Step back. That's the one part I couldn't figure out about how to draw the box, or how to rig the box. Difference between right in here. At top a little bit right there. I couldn't figure it really. Meh. Anyways, I'm just rambling. I am going to find a person to raid though. I hope anybody lurking will go and show support. I think we might rate the links. The rinks. The Luna ran the links. So we're going to raid. I still remember when you were Sapphire. Luna ring running. Oh. Alright. But to all my cardboard crusaders. A box of family. Good time zone. See you tomorrow. Stay comfy. And